Hi, I'm back to share with you part 3 of the Photoshop lesson today. I'm going to be showing you 2 ways to open your image in Photoshop. Just a reminder, if you don't remember how to open Photoshop and it's not down here on your bottom menu, you can go to the Start menu, go up to Adobe Web Premium CS4, click on that and scroll down to Photoshop. You're going to choose the first option and it will open up for you. Okay, now usually I would say go to File. Oh, we're going to close that. We're going to go to File, Open, and we would find our image. Another way, I can show you another way how to do it. I'm going to click on the same image I used to change to black and white. So we're going to open that. And just to show you how you can also double click on the folder on your desktop and find your image. And you can actually drag it to Photoshop. And when Photoshop opens, you just let go and it will open in Photoshop as well. So I could use either of these images and turn them to color. When you are adjusting color in a photograph, remember when we photograph in our class color, we want the color to be very important to the image. So if you are going to use color, you want it to be either delicate and subtle but important, or you want it to be bold and very essential to the image. So right now, if I'm looking at this image, I like the color, but it seems a little too dull. So I'm going to go into image adjustments and I can use the same options that I used when I was changing to black and white and adjusting contrast. But this time we also have to think about color. So I'm actually going to start with levels. When you are dealing with, actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to start with image adjustments, hue, saturation. When you are dealing with color, there are two different, actually, I'm going to change it one more time. I'm going to show you actually the color balance because this is going to show you the different channels of color that are that the image is made up of. So when you are talking about a photograph, these are the colors that the photograph is made of. Cyan and red are opposites. Green and magenta are opposites, and yellow and blue are opposites. So when you add red to your image, you're actually taking out cyan, which is like a turquoise. So if I added cyan, you can see how blue the image starts to look. Now your eye needs to get trained to see those colors a little bit better because sometimes an image can be overall too much of one of these channels. So it could be too green or it could be too magenta to start. So you want your eye to start to be able to recognize those things. It may be too blue to start and you might want to warm it up. And yellow is often added to an image in order to warm up the image if it's seeming too dark, too blue right from the start. So I added a little red, I added a little yellow, and I do like how this looks, but I'm going to cancel it. That's a really simple way of showing how to add color. So I'm going to show you hue and saturation now. So hue is the actual colors. So if I change the hue, it will change the actual colors in the image. I don't usually play around with hue too much when I'm teaching this class because I would like to train you to be able to recognize the exposure and the color that is true to life. So we do our best to keep the hue what you actually took the picture with. Saturation is a little bit different because you're just adding more of the color or taking out some of the color. And some kids like to play with this because it almost turns into a black and white, or maybe it really just pumps the color up. I don't usually add too much saturation because it can look what's called tinny, like a tin can. It's too much. So I'm going to cancel that too, because I'm going to go into some of these other options for changing color. Levels is a good one to start with. So remember, we could change how dark the midtones were, or the blacks, or the whites in the image. But when you're working in channels and color, you can also go into the channel and you can adjust each channel. So remember, I told you that red and cyan work together. So if I add red, so I would be going towards the dark toggle to add red. And with channels, you can actually adjust more specific sections of the piece. So I'm making right now, this is turning bluer as this stays red because I'm moving this dark toggle over here. I can go into the green channel and you can see that this toggle is not meeting the edge of the mountain. That makes it very green, so I would not do that. But you might want to drag it a little bit towards that mountain edge. And you can play around. You do need to adjust it to your taste, but you also don't want to go crazy. And you also have to start to train your eye to see the color in the image. I'm going to go into the blue channel. You can see if I were to drag this here, it would look very blue. I don't prefer that myself. So I'm going to move these individually around. I tend to like my images warmer. This might be a little too warm for my taste. So maybe I'll pull the blue toggle in a little bit. And that's just an example of how you can adjust things individually. Go back to RGB. And you can hit OK. Now, if you want to undo something that you just saved, you can always go to Control Z. So if I said Control Z, this is what I originally had, and then Control Z, this was the new edit. I think I like the new edit better. So at this point, if I was happy with this, I might save it, but I'm going to show you one more option, and that is Image Adjustments Curves. Again, we can go into the individual channels. So if you go up to this channel and click red, and then click on these points of where they cross the grid, you can adjust individual parts of the piece. And you can actually click on other areas of this line, and you can see that if I adjust these things just a little bit differently, I can make the color do a lot of very specific things in order to get what I want from it. I could go into the blue channel. I'm not going to worry about green and magenta because I have not been changing that much. But if I go into the blue channel, I can fool around with the blue channel and decide what looks best to me. This is starting to get a little wonky. the thing with channels is that you could really go crazy with channels. So see if I really make my lines do funky stuff, it will really mess with the way the image looks. You can play with this certainly on your own, but please don't hand in images that are manipulated this much. I'm going to hit cancel, and I'm going to go back to levels, and I'm going to just increase my red a little bit. I think it goes, or maybe cool it down, maybe go this way. And I'm having trouble seeing it because it's the angle. And then I think I'm gonna put a little blue in there and hit OK. And then when I'm happy with it, then I will save that image. And I can just do save as, and I could do machine color. Don't put spaces in your image when you save. If you want to separate the words, use an underscore and hit save. Remember, make sure that says 12 as quality. Hit OK. And then you're all set. Now I can only show you a little bit of this part of how to hand it in because I do not have the same thing that you do. But what I will do is I will show you how to add your image to Drive, and then you can upload your image to Google Classroom through Drive. I do not see the same thing on Google Drive that you do, so I cannot show you exactly what to do. But here are my images. I have my 2 images saved in here. And I'm just going to move this over and find Chrome. And I'm going to click on my Google Drive. And I'm going to make a new folder that's called Practice. Create. You could always make a folder in your Drive called Photography. So I'm going to find my Practice folder and I'm going to open it up. And then I am just going to take my images. I don't have a lot of space on here, but let's move this down if we can. I'm going to take my image, machine black and white, and just drag it into my Drive. And I'm going to put my machine color into my Drive. And then you will be able to see it in there. And when you go to Google Classroom, you will view the assignment. You would go to, well, I can show you a little bit, but you would go to your class, you would go to classwork, and then you would find the assignment. So let's just pretend that it's the Practice Acorns Outside shot. You would say view assignment, and then you would actually have something different that would pop up, and that would be an option to add files. You would add the files and then you would hit turn in, and that would be it. So I hope that was helpful, and that's it. Thank you. Bye.